Hey, this is Lewis. Just came back off of a top 8 finish at Cardiff, 127 players, and I played Mimighoul, Purrely, Fiend Smith, which was a bit of a fun pick. I'm just having a bit of fun with Yu-Gi-Oh at the moment. Can't go to too many big events, so I'm just having a bit of fun. But I think the deck is actually quite good. With that, I'll just jump straight in. So, even though this deck plays more Purrely cards than Mimighoul cards, I still consider the Mimighoul engine to be the primary engine, so I'm going to go through that first. I play 3 copies of Mimighoul Dragon. This guy is a 1 card starter, but I actually prefer not to draw him. I prefer to start with Maker, but you have to play 3 anyway because you actually sometimes go through 2 copies in the combo. You need a third one in deck for room, so you have to play 3 regardless of whether you want to draw him. But he's good. Archfiend, you have to play 2 because sometimes you need 1 to flip the other. So there's Archfiend. Then we have to play 1 Fairy. I actively think you should only ever play 1 of this, even in Pure. Because whilst this is the best extender they have, you don't want to draw this, you'd rather search it. Because he's hard once per turn, and if you draw it, if you draw her, then you can't then search her later on. So you'd rather extend with a different level 1 and search into her. Then we play 1 Slime. This only really comes up as a card for Maker if you've already used Dragon that turn. This is the next best one to reveal. So you normally reveal these 2, but you can reveal these 2 if you've already used Dragon. The only other time this comes up is if you want your dungeon to search an extender and you have no Mimmigles on board, then this one obviously you can't do, but this one you can. And then Master you have to play for Throne. So that's the monsters, as slim as you can. And then we played the 3 Maker, and as I said, this is the best Mimighoul card there is. This card is like easily the best card. You just want to start with this, and if you can't start with this, you start with level 1s that overlay into giant, search this, and then start with this. This is the one you want every time. The grave effect is basically the half of the reason to play it, because by getting this into the grave, you also have a way to flip their guys on your turn, on your opponent's turn, and that's what you want to do. Then we also played slightly unconventional. I played 2 dungeon, 1 terraforming. So again, the Mimighoul cards are at their most powerful. Off of only a few cards. You don't really want to draw that many Mimighouls, so you'd rather start on Giant and search into the rest. And you search as part of the combo a lot of time anyway. So if you play Maker, then Maker will often search you both into Dungeon and Throne, so you'd rather not draw this. Like, it's fine if you draw it, obviously. This is a really good card, but I wasn't bothered if I didn't. And then lastly, play the 1 Throne. This card is really good, paired with this Engrave, so you set Dragon to their field whilst Book of Mooning, so that's 1 interruption, and then when they special summon, you can banish this from grave, same timing as Phineas in Paradise, and Regeki them as well, so it's 2 interruptions, and it's really strong. That's the Nimblegals. The Purrely engine is really quite unexciting, to be honest. So I just play everything. So I just play the standard 2 and 2 of the 2 cats. There's not much to explain there. It's 60 cards, but you still have a lot of normal summons with the Mimighols, so you don't really want to draw these because you've just got 2 normal summons. Then we play 3 of every single memory. 3 of the ones that you can play 3 of, 2 of the ones you can play 2 of, and 3 My Friend. You could cut down My Friend if you wanted to play less cards. You could play 2 of this, it'd be fine. But it's a good card to draw. You actively want to draw Purrleys in this deck, so the kind of concept of the deck is you want to start on the Purrleys, and then actually, in a way, you want the Purrleys to get stopped. And like if they burn hand traps on like this, that's really good for you, because then you have a level 1 body that you extend it with and discard a hand trap from them, and then you just overlay afterwards in Mimighoul. So it's basically like Purrely is plan A, but you kind of want plan A to not work, and then go Mimighoul plan B. And then obviously we play the 1 Yeep. As I say, I still play everything I can. The only thing I don't play is I don't play the field spell. Street, obviously it's a really good card in Purrely, but because A, I want to hand trap my stuff, so I actually don't want it to be not targetable, and B, it conflicts with Mimighoul field spell. I'd rather draw Mimighoul field spell, so yeah, that's why we don't play Street. Last engine we play is the Fiend Smiths. So not too much. It's pretty standard. Not too much to talk about in terms of the numbers you can kind of guess. The reason for the engine again is it's plan A Purrely, plan B Mimighoul, plan C Fiend Smith. So basically this deck just eats hand traps and just carries on playing. The board it makes isn't the craziest, but it's good enough, especially if they've hand trapped you a couple of times and then you've made your mediocre board. Like, it's good enough. And these just really do that. I wasn't playing these originally for a long time. I added them in because they solve a lot of problems the deck has. The deck struggles into Droll, and these cards don't. The deck struggles into Nibiru, and if you draw this, then you can make Caesar and have a negate for Nibiru. Deck also struggles into D-Barrier, but again, this gives you something you can do on a D-Barrier. So they kind of just work in that way, but they're really good anyway, because this is just getting into tracked can summon Lurie as a level 1 extender, so this can help you make Giant anyway, so it gives you another way into more level 1s. It's really consistent. You could almost play 3 copies of Lurie because you can discard off Purrely spells, but I decided not to because I was at 60 and I already felt like my weakest hands were the hands that didn't have Purrleys, and that made me even more reliant on Purrleys. So it's a shame, but because you can't bridge into Purrleys, you just need to draw Purrleys, and this just makes it you even more need to draw Purrleys, and it just didn't feel necessary. Last engine card is we play 1 for 1. Again, this lets us bridge, so this is the only way you can bridge into Purrleys. This card, you can search any of your 3 engines. You can get Lurie, you can get Purrely, or you can get Mimighoul Dragon to just whatever you don't have. So it's really flexible, really versatile, and you can search it with Thrust. So it's just a card you kind of need for that reason. For non-engine, this was originally designed to be a breaker deck, but I found myself adding in hand traps just kind of out of necessity. I'll explain why, but it was designed to be breakers originally. So we play 3 Fuvalos because this card's good whether you're on breakers or not on breakers. It just gets you cards, it just draws cards, and it's really good. Not much to say really. And if you draw it going first, you can just discard it with Purrely cards, so it's fine. We play 3 Ash because this deck does not want to get more Charming, so this is mainly for actually going first to negate their more Charmies. 3 Imperm because it can be used as a breaker, and it's also good if you get hit with this, then you've got 1 more interruption, because the deck, it can make sort of a board under more Charmies, but it's not always the best, so having something to back it up is good. And then we play the 1 Mag. This is like one of the last cards I added in. It can add Mimighoul Dragon, so yeah, it's pretty good, and I was expecting a lot of Fiend Smith, so it makes sense. And then we also played Talents and Thrust, because again, Mimighouls can trigger both of these, and you can give them Monster for the Thrust. So they're just really good for that reason. Not much to say about that. Like, Talents is obviously crazy good right now. And then lastly, Droplets was again one of the last cards I added in. It's just really nice if you're trying to prorate boards, and again, if you draw it going first, it can be an interruption if you've got like more Charming than had to pass, so it's just a decent card. So that is the main deck, all 60 cards. Extra deck. We played... the extra deck, by the way, this deck is like the tightest extra deck I've ever played in any deck ever, so you have like literally like no leeway. You've got to play what you've got to play. So you have to play one of each of these. This one, as I say, is basically the heart and soul of the deck, because this bridges you from Purrleys or a Purrely and a Fabled Lurie into Mimighouls. So it's just like, this is kind of your plan B option. I would really like to be able to play 2, but you just don't have the space. And Thread obviously is really good anyway. Then we Purrleys, we play 1 of every Purrely, because that's all you have room for. They all have their uses. Beauty in particular is really nice. Beauty can change battle positions, and people don't know about that. But if her effect to attach a Purrely also changes battle position, which can trigger Mimighouls. That does come up sometimes, which is really cute. Then we've got the Fiend Smith, so we kind of have to play all of this. As I say, it just gives you enough stuff, and I felt like it was worth playing the trap because I was at 60 anyway, so I didn't mind having the extra card. And you can always discard it, so we went for the full engine. No room for the Link 3, but it's fine, you don't need it. This is good enough. I would really like to play another rank 6, but again, there's just no space. And then last two cards, the actual flex spots. Zeus, which comes up all the time, like both Mimighoul and Purrely make Zeus really easily, so this card's really good. I wish I had space for Down a Magician, but sadly there's not enough space. And then lastly, SP, you just need this. As long as you have two bodies and you've already gone through Fiendsmith, so this is literally just like a card you make at the end of a combo randomly, like just turn one. You can't fit in Masquerader, so as long as you just make this, and that's good enough. So that is extra deck. Lastly, the side, we played 3 Purrely, really, really good. I considered maining this, but just didn't want to quite risk it, but it's a really good card right now. We play 3 evenly, because this deck can play through boards pretty well, but against like Ryzeal, this just clears everything that's not the detonator, and then you kind of just play through the detonator, like brute force your way through. It's not normally too difficult. You've just got enough ways to extend. We play the Aliance here. Maliss is a really bad matchup for this, because the follow-up of Maliss is too strong. Like, typically you don't manage to pull off an OTK with this deck, so it struggles into Maliss because it can break the board, but it can't deal with the follow-up. Lancia just stops them making the board, and then you can just win easily. Then we play a couple of interesting things. So we play Dark Ruler and Duster, both as going second options. I feel like if I'm playing Thrust, Duster kind of has to be in the list somewhere. It's just too flexible of a card. Otherwise, you kind of struggle with back row, so I just wanted to have something. Dark Ruler was quite a late addition, but I wanted a card that Thrust could search, that could turn off a detonator if I'd already like used a talents or something. Then we played 2 Cosmic. It's original. You never know what you're going to play against. I don't want to have like this not in my deck anywhere because I could just lose to random like Runic Stun or something. So just wanted it in there. And then for going first, we played Caught by a D-Barrier. Funnily enough, I actually realised after I submitted my list that these are the only cards I can side in going first, and I have to side out the more Charmies every game I go first, so I kind of just sometimes sided in Cosmic anyway, just because I have nothing else to side in. But yeah, both of these cards are great. Obviously, you need, like, Callback is really good at the minute, just hit more Charmy, and D-Barrier obviously all to win against the best deck, so why would you not play it? So that is the deck. I'm really happy I played it. I think it's really, really fun. Again, it's just that plan A, plan B, plan C. It eats hand traps really well. It can play through boards really easily because you just break them. It struggles against Droll. It struggles against small Charmies, but otherwise it's a really strong like rogue pick. So, and it's fun. So shout out to everybody who I borrowed cards from. So I think that's Joe, James, Ben. If there's anyone else, I'm sorry. And shout out, of course, to my lovely wife. Thank you very much for looking after our baby for the day and let me go all the way to Cardiff to play a regional. And thank you very much for filming this as well. I love you. Thanks.